Hey everybody, good afternoon. 30 minutes of awesome here once again. Glad to see everybody. Craig, Don, Rob, Gary, Tara, Diane. Good to see everybody. And Mary, welcome. So we've got FOMC tomorrow, 2 p.m. It's a volatility event. It's coming up, coming in hot. Probably do a live stream for channel members like I've done in the past, assuming I don't have anything else cooking. Hey, Sergio. And we've got 75% of the S&P 500 companies have basically reported earnings, roughly right in, splitting hairs. And, well, earnings have been pretty darn good. Not really horrible. It's been pretty optimistic as far as what we've got. Now, FOMC tomorrow could lead to a pullback. Like, do they get a little more hawkish on rate cuts, which means less rate cuts, less rate cut talk? The market might not care for that. Like, everything's supposed to be hunky-dory, all good, right? All good in the hood. What if it's not? And, what if Jerome Powell, good, bad, or ugly, says, I've got more control than Trump over the markets. And, maybe he tries to exert his more power over the markets than Trump, and we get a negative reaction. That's what I'm afraid of. I don't know about you. You can let me know in the chat what you think. It's kind of it's unfortunately what I think we might get into. Jerome Powell and Trump just kind of headbutting. Now, Trump said he's not going to get rid of Jerome Powell. He just he just says a bunch of stuff, and I don't think everybody realizes he just blabs, and half the stuff he says is maybe remotely true. Most of the time, he's just he's like an entertainer. I mean, he's always been this. He's always done this. Even when he was on The Apprentice, he just says crap, and may or may not be the way it really is. So you got to be careful. Got to be careful. And I think that Jerome Powell might try to exert his power. So all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. I get some stuff right, some stuff I get wrong. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument out there, including stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries. And if you desire somebody to tell you what to do, you gotta make your own decisions here. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to tell you how big or what or when or whatever to buy. I mean, a couple hard rules. You got a loser, close it before it gets to be big. Don't double down. You got a winner, book it. Book it when it's good. Don't let it go against you. I mean, there's two hard and fast rules for trading. But otherwise, you got to make your own decisions, like how much to risk, how big. I can't tell you that. I don't know your financial situation. You can hire a financial advisor. It's what they do. All right. So looking at the calendar for the week, we are on Tuesday evening already. Holy moly. Week's just ripped by. Tomorrow is the big economic catalyst of the week, I guess you might say. We have the federal funds rates expected to hold. Federal FOMC statement. That's Jerome Powell just blabbing. Coming up at 2:30. Right there. Press conference. They put out their statement with their kind of get their whatever outlook and blah 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 blah. We'll get the minutes a couple weeks later, 2 or 3 weeks later, and then we'll do it all over again in 6 weeks. So that's kind of the way this rolls. So we'll have the next one. You look at 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, somewhere down around 18th. Yep, right there, 18th of June, 6 weeks. So do it all again in June, right before my birthday. Wonderful. That's wonderful news. Alrighty. We had lots of earnings and stuff popping off all over the place after the close there. Throwing this over here. We had like SMC, Supermicro. We had AMD, Rivian, Tempest, ET, ANET, Astrolabs, Upstart, Wynn Hotels, Lucid. Tomorrow, before we get back to the open, we've got Uber, Walt Disney, Envio, Tiva, Unity, Vistra, excuse me, Barrick Mining, Flex, Oscar, Bunge, and then after the close tomorrow, whole nother slew. Like I said, we've got about 75% of the S&P 500 companies have reported earnings already, and it's been running pretty good. Not all that much worse than it was in Q4 of 24. Now, this last bar is how we've been running with 72% reporting. We've been running about 75% of companies beaten, and about we've been running a little higher on misses. We've been a little less on inline. Very few companies coming in line, but so either companies are beating or they're missing. They're not really coming in line at all. I mean, we've seen over time. It's kind of a CEO trick. You kind of sandbag the earnings, so you come in with a beat to try to goose your stock, your company stock, and make the shareholders happy. We see that you can kind of see that trend over time where coming in, very few CEOs feel like it's their moral responsibility to try to come in just in line. We see that less and less, but we're seeing some misses here, and this is compared against the analyst expectations. So what you do is you try to talk the analyst down, and this gets to be more and more popular, as you can see over time, and then you try to beat on your earnings, so you get a pop in your share price. That's a responsible CEO and management team. 75% of the companies play this game. You can see there's a number of companies that don't play this game. So seeing some misses, about 20% right in there. And that's, like I said, we're about 75% done. This probably won't change drastically with only 25-ish% left to go. So, all right. You're welcome to request anything when we get to that point of the show. We'll hit a few highlights before we get there, and like SMCI. Yeah. Let's turn off the Apollo. Go back to the daily. Down just a hair. I have a downward bias. We're under the roadmap line. Been expecting this to take one more dip down to a lower low. Flush this baby out. And you kind of look at it, there's maybe a shoulder, a head, working on a shoulder. Could wrap that baby up. So be careful. This was a corrective pattern that stopped right at the first move up, and the second move up being equal, essentially. Right there. We've moved down. We haven't really done much retrace at all, but we can end up right down here very quickly. Look at the big picture on SMCI. It was a classic bubble pattern. Where you get this big exponential euphoria. We're all going to be rich. I mean, anybody that was around a year and a half ago, when everybody was talking about how, you had shingle installers, window installers, flight attendants, just buy NVIDIA and SMCI. We're all going to be rich. The world of AI is going to, rock and roll. And then had a little complacency, and then we got a big pullback. And I don't think we're quite down to the capitulation yet. We might be somewhere in this denial place here, because I've got a lot of people telling me, oh, you're crazy. This isn't going to flush anymore. Especially my guru friends. And you can see we would look a lot better if we just did one more little flush down here, reset it, and then we could take off again. be careful out there. AMD came in really strong. Had some good numbers. Beating on the top, beating on the bottom. And they had some good stuff. Hadn't really broken out yet, though. I do expect this to pop up and then do probably another retrace back down to this area. It's only 3 moves up so far. Cautious on that when I only see the 3. So we could see this pop on up into this area in a couple of days, somewhere right in here, and then retrace. And then that would be where I would want to think about getting long. Somewhere right over here. If I was going to do that. And I'm not convinced. I've not convinced myself I want to get involved in that yet. Depends on how the bigger market, kind of sets up. So Rivian coming in with good numbers too. Much smaller loss than estimated. And then their revenue was, nice beat. Almost 25% beat on revenue. Not too shabby right there. And that's the main companies that reported earnings. We had ANET. Excuse me. ANET. And they're down. We closed up here and we kind of got slammed a little bit. So they came in, with a beat on the top of 10% and a beat on the bottom about almost 2%, kind of in line. But market not particularly impressed with that. Taking the gap up, back down, basically. That 3 waves up right into the roadmap line. This, I would expect a retrace here, similar to what I was talking about on AMD before we could go higher. Now 3 waves. What I really want to see though is this to retrace here, make a 5th wave that doesn't overlap this down here, and then get a retrace, and then take us higher. That's really what I want to see on ANET. So be careful out there on that one. Things like Uber tomorrow, not much you can do about it now. It's probably going to pop. I mean, it's at pretty much hit the target here. Already there, so we could retrace pretty easy right back down. Now it is at the top of the box, and we could bust out of the top of the box and go on an extension. It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility at this point. We've been chopping and chopping and chopping for a while. Wouldn't surprise me one bit to finally pop on up out of here. You can see we did this retrace back here, popped up, hit that 1448, retraced, did a couple chops, hit that 1448 on the smaller move. Could retrace, but we could also just pop on out. It's like winding up a spring right there, winding. It's either going to pop up or pop down. And right now it looks more likely to pop up. Not bad. Disney, on the other hand, could pop up, could pop down. More likely to pop down at this point. You can see it's been down. I think this needs a flush down in the 60s or 70s probably to reset it and kind of clean up its act here. And then NVO, this one possibly bottomed here. We may see a retrace on earnings tomorrow morning, but resistance is up here, and they work to deal with HIMS to move more GLP-1 drugs. Looks like it's been bullish for HIMS. So that was an official close above right there. I was looking for that this morning. We got that to close today. This may be a good way to play. You can buy some of this right here without buying options and take advantage of the potential pop up to 84. So what kind of move would that be? We're talking about a move right here to 84, about a 73% upside. So HIMS, potentially 150% upside, 140. Heck, let's just split the difference, go to 100% upside. That wouldn't be bad. Take a 30, go up to 60, 33 up to 66. Right there, 100% upside. That wouldn't be not too shabby right there. Everybody always wants to use the fibs and stuff. That doesn't necessarily work on the 2x leverage. All right, you just go to the underlying draw your fibs, figure out your target, measure your upside, then take that, multiply by your leverage, 2x in the HIMS case right here. Round down a little bit. So 73% upside, technically like 146%, but let's round down, be a little more conservative. I mean, we could see 140. It's possible to get on up here. That'd be gravy. All right. Just go for 100. Don't be too greedy. Not the double. That's pretty darn good. I mean, could you play options? It's up to you. All right. Be careful on leverage. There's a significant risk of loss when you trade leverage. All right. Even more significant risk of loss than, especially if you play an. If you do options on leverage, you're just playing with nitroglycerin in a dump truck factory while you got the matches all over. Playing with matches, nitroglycerin. I mean, it's just like while you're soaked in gasoline. I mean, you're trying to blow yourself up. I mean, just be careful. All right. Now, not a bad shake though. Double potential right there. How long would it take? That's a different story. Different story entirely. As we've talked about recently, the average on this setup, and there's no reason to turn this on because this hasn't been around long enough to do that. The average on this setup is 45 days to go from here to here. Now, the standard deviation on this is 35 days. And these are trading days, not calendar days. So these are candles, days that make candles. So what happens on the weekend? There's no candles. So you can't count those days as trading days. So 45 days on average, standard deviation is 35. That gets you to 68% of the time. It would take, you would reach the target by this amount of time. Now, if you wanted to bump that up to 95%, you add 2 standard deviations. All right, this is where, like when you see Bollinger Bands and you have 2 standard deviations, that covers, instead of being 68%, now you're at 95% of the time. All right, so that would cover you 95% of the time, but that still leaves 5% of the time you would run out of time. Now, if you wanted to cover it to 99.7% of the time, you would add a 3rd standard deviation. So for those keeping track, we are up to 45 plus 35 plus 35 plus 35. That's 150 trading days, essentially, to get your 99% of the time. Well, there's still going to be 1% or less that take longer than this. But if you were going to play like options or something like that, this is how long your money could be tied up in this. 150 trading days. 99% of the time will be less than this. Right there. That'd be 217, basically 220 calendar days. You're out to December. This is the same way it works on every daily chart when we get one of these setups right here. That's how long it could take. How long could it take? Could take that long. Right there, 99% of the time, we're going to be faster than that. 1% of the time, it could take even longer. All right. Hopefully that was helpful. On this setup, that's the market roadmap setup that I talk about on the channel homepage. Right there. So, pretty good one. I like it. All right, looking at some other stuff. Covering futures today. Kind of give me a stomach ache, especially the close when we flushed out there at the end. That was not what I wanted to see. And let's just flip over the clean chart here. Fingers. So this morning I talked about the fact that if we broke down below 5,600, it looked more likely that we're going to get continuation down. And what we did, we stopped right there. Stopped right there. And that was a 3-wave move right there. So that's completely unclear is what's coming. Completely unclear. Did not like that. I mean, I was hopeful right here. I was really hopeful when we made a higher low, started back up, and then we did this right into the close. I was like, what the fudge was that? Way to mess up a nice potential little pattern that we had. You know, with this right here, we could have rallied on up into the FOMC and then gotten the big pullback that we've been waiting for. Now we got to see what it cooks to overnight and into tomorrow morning. You know, what kind of upside do we get here? Do we go higher than that, or do we finish coming down lower and then get some extension? I don't know. We'll have to see in the morning. That's not clear. Now, look at this one though. We did make a nice higher low with a 3-wave retrace. Nice and clean. That right there. If we get some move higher, this is probably indicating that we're going to go up into FOMC tomorrow. But if we do that and we get up here, even on the FOMC reaction, that sets up the bigger pullback. So ES is leaning toward the high being in place right here, and we're not going any higher into the danger zone. Whereas NQ might pop a higher high. Some kind of crazy higher high before we start rolling over. There's not really much. I don't give a whole lot of credence to just popping through the danger zone at this point. Probably not going to happen. Based on what I got here, probably not just going to rip through the danger zone. Probably coming down here before we go above here. It's, if, you know, and the nature of how we drop down here sets the stage for, are we going up, or are we just coming up lower high than this high and then continuing down into the abyss below 4,000. So we're about to find out in the next couple weeks what's happening. About to find out. Talked about it long enough. Now rubber meets the road. We're finally in the ballpark. We got the tickets. Found our seats. Show's about to begin. This is probably going to retrace right down here in the next couple days. CL. Yeah, the replay is always here. See you later. And I tell you what, this thing right here, unclear, just like so many other charts. I think this might need one more flush. That was not a lower low at this point, but if it does, we can be all done on the downside here. I've kind of been expecting this to go right down in that zone for quite a while. And if we poke below 50, something sparky could happen in the Middle East. Looking at European oil, you know, that was West Texas Intermediate. European oil running a little hotter, a little spicier. And this one kind of indicated we might have a reversal, possibly. Still unclear, but this one a little stronger on the reversal potential than West Texas Intermediate. Gasoline prices, that is looking like a bottom reversal type pattern. Came up in the vicinity of the daily roadmap line, got the nice retrace, that proportion right there, that low, that high, it's at 618. This sets up the bigger potential bounce. And we already had a potential bounce set up from this low to this high. Deep retrace. Now, mini retrace. This thing could explode higher on gas prices. What would cause gas prices to explode higher? I don't know. It's like the nut falling off the plane. The Boeing. All right, we've got a setup for gas prices to go exploding higher. 240, probably a little retrace, then go even higher, $3. That's going to wreck Trump's, I got the cheapest gas prices in history. He was harping on $1.98 gas. Yeah, $1.98 futures, but not $1.98 pump prices. So definitely be careful here. This looks like it could break out in a serious way here. HO, which is heating oil, which is actually diesel fuel, is what we commonly know it as. It's sitting down here at the lows. Like this did pretty darn sure that made a lower low. Let's see, a low on that day was $1.93.7. This was $1.93.3. Yeah, that was the lowest low. Not really reversing on heating oil or diesel fuel so far. And this could extend down just a bit more. You know, our first move down reflected off that 618 retrace. That could put us down here at $1.58 on diesel fuel prices. It's kind of crazy to think that diesel fuel might go down while gasoline goes up. It's kind of crazy. It's just, that defies logic. But I mean, look, diesel fuel is sitting down here while gasoline is not. These two have diverged, and gasoline and oil prices have decoupled too, because we have oil down here and gasoline's actually looking to break out. So that could be a complete mind bender for a lot of people, that oil prices go lower and gasoline prices shoot up. I've discussed in the past why that is. It has to do with refining capacity in the United States. We have limited refining capacity, and while oil supplies may be fine, gasoline prices may not, or gas supplies may not be fine. Distillates, you know. And we're seeing, this is a kind of a play on trucking. We're seeing epic decline in trucking and shipping, which cruise ships and trucks on the road and airplanes, those are the major users. Arguably cruise ships and airplanes, much bigger users of diesel than trucks on the road, but we're seeing less goods coming in the country. That's less shipping needs to be done. That's less demand for diesel fuel. So good time for Rongamer to stockpile, put a tank in the backyard. Anyway, natural gas looks like we may have bottomed out, gotten the rally. As I talked about, we have resistance in this zone right in here. If we come up there, we may bounce down and get a lower low. That'd be the first move down, the retrace, and the next move down. We do bottom this time of year, which that could have been the bottom right there. Historically, you know, we typically make our seasonal low of the year right in where we are, and then we start the ramp into December. That could be the bottom. We could do a retrace here, hold a 618, and start on our ramp to December highs right there. We do this every year, same pattern over and over and over. The prices vary. We came up a little shy of what I was expecting to hit there. So seasonality wise, we might be done on the downside for natural gas. Could see a ramp. How far? Until we get some more price action, I can't really, you know, we do have resistance hanging out right here at $4. Probably see some rejection off of that. Don't expect it to just bust through. Probably come up here, retrace, hold a level. If we hold a level here, that sets up our next projection. So the level I would expect to hold, that low, that high, somewhere in the 317 area. That gives us the move up, the retrace, and potential to go on up to back to the highs we had. So we could see the move similar to this, back to these highs that we had right over there. Just in Cali, that was in March, and that was in April. What a crazy moving natural gas. We could go back to up to the early March highs, basically, right up here. Alrighty, moving on. Gold, and this looks like a couple people were like, "Oh, you're crazy! Like this is going higher." We pushed it right to the line, right there. This is the measured bounce setup right here. Came up right to the line. These things have a funny way of pushing it right to the limit and then turning around and doing the thing that I thought we were going to do. Target's still right down here. Hadn't really changed. Just marginally. Couple bucks. 31.50. Next potential low there. Expand it right down in there. Yeah. Let's actually do it this way. First move down. Retrace. Next move down. At 31.50. Still the same place. So with that, without even using without using fib tools or anything, you have this move down right there. You just copy it, paste it right there. Potential for the next move down. Be careful. We're still holding that 3 days up does not make a new trend. And that's right at the top of the danger zone for this chart. That'd be a mind bender that gold goes down. Bitcoin goes down. S&P goes down. Nasdaq goes down. All on FOMC, right? That's like, wait, I thought gold was going up when the market goes down. Yeah, what if it all goes down at the same time? And what if silver goes down with it? Silver comes back down too. Got a 1-2 setup on silver. Be careful. Copper. Got a 1-2 setup on copper. You see copper go down. I'm seeing this same pattern all through the market. Be careful. This potential to come back to the roadmap line. Right there on Bitcoin. ATH has the potential to flush out to new lows. Lower than this low right back here in June of 22. We have the setup for doing that right down there. Like a 50% downside right there. That would hurt. That would hurt a lot. Be careful. NKD came up right to, look at this. We poked right into the resistance zone right there. Scratched the belly right there. Turned red. This looks ripe for retrace right there. Why would this retrace on our FOMC meeting? That's the thing. FOMC meeting is just the news catalyst, the headline catalyst. It is not the reason. Just like the tariffs were the headline catalyst, but it's just a headline. It wasn't the reason we retraced. We retraced because we've been working on it for months coming into this. Months and months, and then we retraced. So be careful out there. This looks like it could potentially be done with that lower low. First move up, probably going to retrace before we can set up the bigger breakout. I'm still bullishly inclined, but I need to see the nature with which we decline on the S&P to convince me that we're going higher. If we decline in an impulsive fashion, we're going to go lower before we go higher. That's the bottom line. All right. It's just be cautious. I mean, you gotta protect your own accounts. You gotta set your own expectations. You gotta have some awareness of what's going on in the market. I haven't actually paid for any EV gas in my EVs since like January. Well, I guess I put the truck on in April. Put the truck on the solar system. Had the had login. Let's see. I wonder if I can log in and show you. I don't even know I don't know the website. I can see if I can. I have it bookmarked, but I don't know the name of the web. Like I don't even know the URL. Let's see. I have an app for it. Let's see. Say anything on here about the website? No, it does not. Cool. Yeah, nothing about the website on the app. So let's see. Let's see. You show off my production. And there's homeowners. Let's see. Okay, what if you've already got it? How do you log in to the monitor? There it is, monitor center. Let's see. Will you remember my username and password? No, it does not. It's not synced up. Cool. God love it. Anyway, let's see if I can bring a tab over here. See if it's on Google. And computer says no. Yeah, I don't know my password. Got it saved. No idea. I made like so far this year. I can just tell you right off the app. Yeah, 1,800 kilowatt hours this year on that system. Plus, I have another system combined. They hit 5,000 kilowatt hours. I think it is. So not bad. I've got 155 kilowatt hours of batteries installed. So it's like 12 Tesla Powerwalls, I think. Got 50 more kilowatt hours to install. Sitting there at the house on a pallet. And I've still got 30 solar panels to put up. So got some more expansion. And I got another EG4 unit to go. So I bought a second. They had returned units. I guess refurbished units would be the proper terminology that I could get my hands on for road. They were like, it was like a pre-tariff blowout sale thing. I got it for almost half off. Not a bad shake, I thought, for being able to see what I quickly found out when the Cybertruck's pulling full power and the Model Y is pulling full power on its charger, which is much smaller than the Cybertruck's charger. It exceeds 12 kilowatts of power and shuts the system down until it resets. So anyway, is the roadmap line a free indicator? Yeah, you just click on my name right underneath me and go to the homepage of the channel. Watch that video that says my favorite indicator. It's got some arrows pointing to it, and the code is right there for free. Give me the code. If you're not a DIYer and you're like, I don't want to do a code, I want to like just click a button. $5, links in the description right there. All right, we're at the point in the show where you can do requests if you want to. Remember my 50K challenge, which is the goal is to get this number right here on the month to $50,000 right there a month from trading. Be a channel member, get some updates on that. Or if you want all the trades and all the information, Termite Trading Lab is the way to get that information right there. So I'll throw this in the chat. You can follow along. All the trades are posted on this website automatically every evening. One closes and one closed today. So this number will go up tomorrow right there. All right, moving on. So we got now channel members get priority on requests. So if your name's in green and you got a little star, you get to go first, and then I'll circle back and pick up everybody else. That's just normal subscribers. All right, kind of the way we do it. Use all caps when you request. So you're saying ZS. $Z. You're talking about Z scalar? ZS? I mean, the target's up here, 279. That's the one you're talking about. And then MBLI. Mobileye. That looks pretty bad. I don't think it's popping right now. It's got got to break above. It's got to break out of this downtrend of highs to get any kind of upside going. As long as we keep that downtrend of highs, this is looking more and more likely down here. Lower low, down below 10 bucks. I would not play that thing right there. There's your, so you got this double resistance going on right here with the roadmap line. Not looking too hot on Mobileye. Sorry to break it to you. TLN. You could just trade quality stuff, you know, like, I mean, look, 100% win rate here. I've done 13 trades, actually 14 trades as of tonight, you know, today. Done 14 trades, 100% win rate. Look at that profit. I mean, average gain is 85.85% too. So you don't have to chase weird trades. This one's set up for 275. TLN, DX, see. I chase quality with that 50K challenge. That's stuck right here. We scraped the top of the target, but I still got a place for going lower. I just don't feel like we finished the downside here. When you look at this bigger picture, you know, this move from over here, we need to put it on, you know, we got it on log scale. Got that move down, this move down. We scrape just right there at it. Usually we poke just a little bit lower before we set up a reversal. So we got to get a higher high than this high right here. If we don't do that, still would expect the lower low for DXCM. Alrighty. And GLD. Well, I already did gold. You know, GC is GLD. Right here. That's the move. That's what we expect. Right there. Coming down, bounce back up again, and get an ultimate move down, probably into the late summer. Right there. GOLD, Barrick Mining. I think they just reported earnings. Nice little pop. Be careful. Has a gap down here. Big major resistance right there. Danger zone. Watch out. This has not been bullish. You know, when you go look at GDX, this has been rocking and rolling new highs, but GLD has not. It's been underperforming. You go zoom out, look. I mean, this is not anywhere near new highs or all-time highs. We topped out back here. And this is way lower, way down here in the muck. Whereas GDX is, you know, rocking and rolling here. Pushing highs. Trying to break out. You go look at what the constituents of GDX are. More about this fund. Come in here, you look down. We've got NEM, which has been underperforming. AEM, outperforming. WPM, outperforming. FNV, outperforming. GOLD, underperforming. AU, outperforming. So don't go with the one, like, the ones that are underperforming. This guy and this guy, or girl, you know, this company and that company. These two underperformers are not opportunities to catch up. There's something wrong. Like, they're not performing. There's a reason for that. You got to be careful. And just like gold looking like a B wave, this on the smaller time frame looks like a B wave, and we may get a bigger retrace here. This may be the first move down, and we may copy that off of here. Right at the danger point. We could easily visit lower levels down here. So be careful on gold and gold miners right now. That would be what I have to say. All right. Not a lot of Termite Trading Lab members making requests, it looks like. Almost to the bottom. And Las Vegas Sands. Major resistance coming up at the roadmap line. Right there. Major resistance right there. And the natural inclination, like when we've been riding it down, continuation down. Like trend is down, retrace, extension, retrace, extension, retrace, extension, lower. So until we meet, some point where we would think we would reverse, there's no reason that to think this would reverse. We broke this pattern up here. We were gonna bounce up here, and it failed and went lower. So it wrecked the upside. Hate to break it to you, but when we rejected those highs right there, we wrecked it. Now we're more likely to go make a lower low than this low right back here in April of 22 than we are to go on to make a high. And yeah. So when you look at this bigger picture here, got that low, we've got this high. This may come on down back in this $12 area. Possibly even down to single digits. Not looking too hot on LVS. So this may be an intermediate little bounce before we go on a bigger flush. Definitely be careful there. MA has targets up here at 600. Nothing changed. Rock and roll. How long could it take? Back to that conversation. Could take 220 days. 220 calendar days, 150 trading days to get all the way up here. And next up, Disney. Still set for a flush. I think I mentioned that a few minutes ago. Probably expect this one to bottom out somewhere down here, 60 to 70. Earnings tomorrow could push it up in this zone right here, but then I think we're probably going to get continuation lower. I'm not touching it. Not touching it at all. All right. Made it down to the bottom of the list. So I'm going to recycle back up to the top. Channel members, I'll catch you later if you make requests. And go catch everybody else here. All my normal subscribers. ALC. 104 upside target. Still at 10 a downtrend underneath the resistance. Hasn't been able to bounce yet. Didn't quite touch the 618 there. We might see a move down to the 62 area. Here's the resistance right in here. And then more resistance right there. So resistance at 108 and then up here at 124. This resistance keeps drifting down. So the longer we stay down here, the deeper it's going to go. There you go. Roadmap line, downtrend highs, 618. It's got a nice big blob of resistance right there. It's gonna be really tough to get through. And we're not even up there. We're still at a lower high. So still in a downtrend. That's not the place I like to play. Delta Airlines. This potentially made a long-term bottom here. Nice move up, nice retrace. And I gotta go bigger than I went here. So this today 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up and a retrace. Has potential. Has potential. This gets to be a crazy move. Or move right up in here. Now, long mode might be a little aggressive. We might just be looking at a move like this. 100 to 110. Possibly 120. Right in there. 110 is actually the number I'm using right now for my own trading. How long might that take? That might take 3 or 4 years. You can see this took several years, almost 3 years from that pullback right there till we got to this high. We pulled back quickly. Probably do some pops and bumps and something like that. Took us from this low in 2020 to that high here in January. That took 5 years. This move over here probably should go more aggressive, but it might take on the order of 5 years. What's the downside? You break below this low, potential to come on down to 30. So looks good to have a bottom in place though. X. US Steel still has downside potential. First move down, retrace. Next move down, potential to come down here. Lower low than that low. Possible we bottomed. I'd be careful though. I just have low confidence in that being a bottom. We push down below that uptrend of lows there, probably coming down here. XYZ. Block, the target for block is down here at 30, below this low, so down in the 30s. Had that arrow on there since early last year. I think I put that on there. Just been waiting for this to finish this pattern up. That was a big 3-wave move right there. And now this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Looking for that final move lower than 39.50. TRS. Well, in case you wondered what I thought before, return to the low. Getting a little pop, but that's still a downtrend. It's going to take breaking out of this downtrend of highs before I would think about it doing anything else. Could it pop? Sure. Does it look like the trend is down? Yeah. Would I bet on it doing anything but going down? Not really. We keep chopping, but you know, it's... Which way is this going? Down, down, down. There's the floor. It may take a bust below that before we can actually get some positive action out of here. On TRS. LRCX is back to resistance. We broke down below that uptrend of lows. Back to the bottom of it. Be careful if we reject off of that. We're going lower low. If we can break through, we could come up higher, but right now that doesn't look like what we're doing. Doesn't look like what we're doing. There's that head and shoulders thing, like I talked about a minute ago on that other, I don't even remember what ticker it was at this point. And MRK. And potentially at a bottom point left. Resistance right there. Might turn down. CRS. I'd already hit that. I guess it was TRS. And hitting the triple top. Possible to go up to 225, but we may retrace before we can do that. Right there. Be careful. And NVS. Novartis. Just chopping around here. Chopping, chopping, chopping. I would expect to pop up to 120, but it may just keep chopping in this zone. It's not very clear at this point. We've got established high, kind of a loose uptrend of lows going. Say loose. Right there. That's kind of the floor coming up. And we've got two lower, a series of lower highs at this point. This may just keep filling this out until we get pop or drop. I don't know. It's unclear at this point which way that's going. Didn't really come into this with a very strong trend. This thing tends to chop. Let's see a lot of the junk on pharmaceuticals, so I would be careful on that one. Yo, rock and roll and target up higher, 75. Set this up, set the entry back mid-April. Came up just shy of the target, retraced, common pattern, and we could take 220 days to pop up there. I mean, this could go all the way down here and do this before we pop up finally. 75 is the target. CRWD, the upside target is the same as it was this morning, 483. Tesla has a problem getting through the roadmap line here, and we may see this retrace back down to test this downtrend of highs. That's a common thing we see. For example, the most famous one is from back in 2022. This one was brilliant right here. We broke up through, came down, back tested, and then took off. That may be what we're doing on Tesla right there. When you look at it, just smaller scale. We may have to back test this downtrend of highs right there before we can bounce up. So downside around 240, and resistance is hanging out right there at 300. I expect down before up on Tesla. Okay, Kraftons. I'm off of this one, by the way. I'm not touching anymore. Potential this rolls on down, support right down here. Could see this drift on down. That's the line in the sand. If we get below the line in the sand, we could see it go even lower, potentially new lows down here around 16. We are below the roadmap line, not getting, I do expect this to hold, but if it doesn't hold, there's the line in the sand, and if that doesn't hold, 16. So there's the resistance coming down pretty strongly. Downtrend of highs. Be careful. LOAR. That one had the high here, the low here. We're coming up and target. Wouldn't expect much more than 101. There on LOR, ANF. And there's the targets. Haven't gotten there yet. Came close. Extension on down to around 55 or so. Breeze. I just said the lows. Has set up to go down to 17. And SMCI, we already touched on. That's the target, going lower. How do we join the 50K challenge? You can join the Termite Trading Lab if you want to. You can either follow along on K-Info or for free. But if you want to see every trade, every twist and turn, Termite Trading Lab is the only way you get that. And I'll throw the link in the chat. HTTPS : jeffreytrader.com/inquire. There you go. So that link's down below. Author. Term Market Trading Lab is a 5-figure thing, so it's not cheap. And we've been doing about 6 trades a week, 7 trades a week, something like that. It's been ramping up as my account grows. So that's how you get access to that if you want to see. Now you can join. A couple of people told me you've got to log in and actually upgrade your thing to Pro if you want to see all the details of every trade. This is not logged in. You can see I'm in the top 500 for the month right here. This is all verified by third-party K-Info. All trades are verified. I don't make anything up. I don't put them in. They just download it from my brokerage account every night. And if we're on the 1 month, you can see the 3 month and the 1 year. Click on it, all the same. This account didn't really have anything for. Let's see. You can see I wasn't really using it for anything, and then started the challenge here. Go back and look at the leaderboard. We can look at that 1 month leaderboard. The average gain. See, I'm right up here. Number 3. The average gain. And if you click on winning trades, I'm in like an 8-way tie for number 1. 100% win rate. Can't get any better than that. So profit, I'm down at like 202. These guys got big accounts apparently. I don't have $1 million accounts. Plus, if I was hitting numbers like that in the last month, it wouldn't be a challenge, right? Like I plan on being up here in the top 20 or so when I actually start hitting $50,000 a month. So be pretty cool. My personal challenge, I want an account that generates that kind of money. So I'm going to build an account that generates that kind of money. So there you go. This is a real trade right here. Celsius put option closed on May 2nd. There'll be a new Celsius call option closed today that shows up here tomorrow. That's the 50K challenge. Build my own account that makes that kind of money. Uklo was popping a little bit on Trump's rhetoric today. We're going to support nuclear, whatever, but still got a downtrend of highs and still got downward potential. It's just one big flush in a 5-way fashion. We may see this rally back up in 3 waves here into this area and then get a bigger flush out. So be careful. Carmax is looking pretty rough. Hadn't been doing anything for 3 years and it's sitting at the lows of the 3 years. Be careful. This looks like it needs one more flush down to a new low somewhere in the 40s, 30s, 40s. I would definitely be careful messing with that because it doesn't look. I'm a trend pullback continuation trader. When there's no trend at all, pharmacy's taking a hit today on Rite Aid, filing for, I guess, saying they're bankrupt. So I guess Rite Aid's going to go out of business. Walgreens Boots Alliance also having a lot of trouble getting any kind of bullish action going on. Drugstores don't seem to be a great business to be involved in right now. So I'm not sure I would touch CVS either. That's a lot of resistance to get through. And we broke down pretty nastily. All right. I got like the same 4 people requesting over and over and over. I'd love to hang out with y'all all night, but I'll hit a few of these. And let's see. We did CVS, Walmart. Potential to go up to 110. NEOG. That's a dumpster fire. MTN. A dumpster fire. PayPal. Saved dropping out. Like Square was dropping out. I was kind of setting these two up in the same category, but this one actually coming back up to resistance here. So we had this resistance and the roadmap lines right there too. So right in there is resistance around that 70 to 73 area. If we can get above that, we can go on up back to 100. If we reject off of it though, we're probably coming down here to the low 40s on PayPal. MRX. Yeah, target. Book your profit. SPUX. Hunt the bottom. This may dip down to a new low somewhere in the 65 area. BK. Sitting here at the 618. Did not close above it today. So we're waiting on that close above that 83 area. To, it's already pushing up on the after hours. So 93 is the target if it can work on all that. Shopify reports earnings Thursday in the morning. That's turning down, and we may get a retrace on those earnings for Shopify. Marvell, chips, that's a downtrend, and we're down here. Be careful. That can extend lower. Disney already hit. Lift. Turning down at the roadmap line. Be careful. LTBR. This looks very bubble patterny. I would expect a lower high at this point. Be careful. Resistance is up here. And WRB. That hit a target. First move down, retrace. Might be a 4-hour bounce. That'd be the 4-hour target. Be careful though. I'd expect it to come down to the daily roadmap line. UAL. Turning down at the roadmap line. Watch for another move down. If we can break through, make a higher move higher, we'll have the resistance at the 618. Right up in here at 91. So we've got big blob of resistance basically right in here for this to go higher. And we may retrace back to a 618 before we can get the energy to come up and test it. Alrighty. JD, be careful. Pinduoduo decided they're not going to ship to US. JD, not really known for shipping a lot of stuff to the US, but it is a China company. There's pressure to delist China companies from the US markets. Once again, be careful. These are a risk. I don't trade China stuff for that reason, for the most part. Now, all that said, this is a 3-wave kind of retrace. And that missed. 3-wave kind of retrace. And that could be a bottom, and we could go higher from here. Lululemon. Resistance right there. It poked below support and set up the odds. We're going to go down below 200. CLSK is sitting under in a downtrend. FUTU. Resistance at 108. BitX is Bitcoin. Already hit that. PCT. Can't chart leverage charts. Like, they just don't work that way. So PCT, potential for this to come on down into this resistance here, or support here. Resistance is right up here at the roadmap line. And this looks like a big sideways bunch of junk. Not really trending. Dun, 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 dun. DXYZ. Probably coming back to the lows. And XLE. Hunting for, was that the low? I looked for it to come down there. We finally did. Is that the low? If we bust back down below this 78 area, we're probably going to extend it down to a new low around 72, 73 for XLE. TGT. Probably going to extend that one on down. 60. Decker Outdoors. Probably going to extend that one on down. Looks like a bubble pattern. Would not surprise me to come back to 75. Decker. UNH. There's the target. 345. Man, I should have held on to those puts. I had puts. I closed them out. Money, baby. 345. DG. And this has big upside potential. If this was the bottom, I can't guarantee it was the bottom. Could be on a log scale and could reach down to 55 area. If this was the bottom, nice big upside potential right up here, like 1400. Crazy numbers. UCOM. Same sort of big crazy pattern. Move up, retrace, potential to move up, 335. KNGC. Can't do much with that. KNGC. Yeah. Neither one of those charts very well. So path. Resistance right there. We kind of scraped the top of this target. Could extend down to 8. If we hold that roadmap line, bounce down, could extend on down to 8. And GE 222 is targets. DKNG potential to go lower again. Back to lows. It's just chopping at this point. It did hit a target, so watch out for the deeper retrace. This might come all the way down to this bigger target right down here. So if we break through that low right there, we could see this retrace all the way down to 20 on DKNG. GILD. Sit at the roadmap line. Can we hold it, or do we bounce on down here to 77? I don't know. Don't have a strong feeling about that one. WGS, potential hold in here. If we get below the box, though, probably going on deeper. Some support levels down at 31 and 14. And WFC. Okay, closed above the 618. 85 target up there. Might take a little while. PLTR. Target is still 137. Got a nice big fat retrace today, but target's still 137. Remember, it could take 220 days to get there. Could mess around in here. The stop out is $1 below the low, down at 65, and the target is 137. And this could take, this fired off the entry right back here. So it could take 220 days to get to the target. That's just the historical pattern. And Berk B. Potential to retrace. We kind of double, triple topped here. Potential to come back to roadmap line. It did kick off the potential to go up to 552. Our buddy Warren Buffett has decided to retire at the end of the year. So Meta. Stopped dead cold at the resistance right here. That's the danger zone. Watch for retrace off of that. If the market pulls back, this is probably not immune, and it's probably going to pull back. TPR. And watch for that one to retrace. And Airbnb. And watch for that one to turn down off the roadmap line and move. Watch for that one to turn down off the roadmap line. That's a downtrend all day long. Dun, 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 dun. All right, that was it. Thanks for coming, everybody. I'll be back same bat time, same bat channel, 9:15 tomorrow morning, same bat, same time as always. We'll hunt for stuff popping, stuff dropping. More than likely, I'll have a stream for channel members for FOMC live. We'll kind of chit chat. It's really informal, not quite like this, where we just kind of watch the market and see what's happening. Have a great day. Have a great evening. We'll see you. The account you save may be your own. Be back at you tomorrow. Bye for now.